There are three things in your life right now that you, me, everybody crave for, and if you're not careful, it could be ruining your happiness, your peace of mind, and I could go on and on, your relationships. Hey, this is business and life strategist Gary Cox, and I want to share with you the three things that you crave for, but more importantly, I'm going to show you how to manage these three things so you can have so much more control, happiness, love, and success in your life. So let's talk about what they are. We all crave approval. And this started when we were very young. It typically starts like even before our first birthday. Next thing that we want to be accepted. Acceptance. And then we want appreciation. Appreciation. We all want to be accepted. So, do you like to have approval? Do you like acceptance? Do you want to be appreciated? Who doesn't? So this is a natural thing, but here's what happens. I'm going to give you some scenarios and you can see how this is something that we want when we're younger. We want it when we're older, but if we haven't figured out how to manage this, it could really make it a very, very destructive life. Okay, here we go, approval. So let's say we're learning to walk. We're a year and a half years old, 1 year old, whatever it might be. We take a step or two, we fall, and then we take another step, maybe 3 or 4 steps, and mom and dad get all excited. And then, in our young infant mind, we associate that excitement as, hey, if I keep doing this, this is a good thing. I'm going to get more what? I'm going to get more acceptance. I'm going to get more appreciation. I'm going to get more approval. So these are the things that condition and program us to walk more, take our first steps, run, etc., etc. Now, here's what happens. Because we crave so much of this, this is where we can get into some problems. So let's say we're 5 years old now, 6 years old, we're going to school and we get a grade that's not good. Maybe we get a C. Now, if we were raised with one of those parents that say, you must get straight A's all the time, I expect that of you, I demand that of you. What happens now is if we know we get a low score, low grade, we're not going to get one or all of these things. So because we want this so bad, especially from somebody that we look up to that's with us all the time, we will do whatever we can to make sure we get an A. Now here's the interesting thing. The real motive is not to get the A, is it? No, that's the hidden motive. The real motive is to get the what? The approval, the acceptance, all these things, the appreciation. Now, if we're not careful as we get older, here's where the problem comes in. We take that same person, let's say now they're maybe 10 years old. And now, at 10 years old, they hang around some friends, and one of their friends starts to bring out a cigarette. Well, because we all crave approval, acceptance, and appreciation, we want to be in and we want to be approved by our peers. We go take that puff. It's nasty. It's disgusting. We still push through it. This is how people eventually get addicted to a cigarette that at first they coughed and went crazy over how nasty it was because they originally did it because perhaps they wanted acceptance or approval or whatever it may be. I know this young little girl, 7 years old, adorable. She just loves to be the center of attention all of the time. And it's a little bit out of balance, but what's interesting is what is she wanting? She's wanting all of this, like we all do. But if we're not careful, it could get ourselves into trouble as we get older. Now, one of the things that I haven't done is had a conversation with her, and it's very difficult to decode a lot of this with a 5, 6, or 7-year-old. So we'd want to find out why specifically do you want approval, acceptance, or appreciation out of the normal. Very hard to dig into the mind and the heart of a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old to decode this, like I said. So this is where it becomes challenging. So now let's say this girl, she gets 15, 16 years old, and we haven't learned to manage these three things. Now, to get acceptance or approval, maybe there's a guy that wants to have sex with her, and that's how she finds how she's going to get her approval or acceptance. Then she has to do it more and more and more, and you know the rest of the story. I mean, this is how things happen. Here's how it happens in a relationship. I'll give you a scenario. Let's say we have a newlyweds, and she's cooking a meal. She's spending hours cooking this meal for him, and he gets the meal. He starts to take a bite. She's looking at him. And, okay, it doesn't taste that good. So she asks the dangerous question, honey, what do you think? And he's wanting to tell the truth, but he says, okay, well, yesterday's meal was a little better. I mean, this one, it's good, but maybe you could add a little more spice. And she loses it. What do you mean? I spent 3 hours all day long working on this meal for you, and and she just blows up. Why is she blowing up? Not because he doesn't like the meal. No. She didn't get 1, 2, 3, or all of these things. She wanted to feel appreciated. But because when she was 4 years old or 2 years old, she craved for that appreciation so much, it got to be a point when she got older. Can you relate to this? I certainly can. Now she gets older, and if somebody doesn't respond the way she wants the response that would give her approval, acceptance, or appreciation, it's right at that point that becomes pivotal. Boom, that's when we begin to lose it. We lose emotional control. We're no longer emotionally healthy, all because of how we were programmed when we were younger. I know you can relate. Now, the next important thing is, how do we solve this? How do we solve such a thing? And by the way, if you want to share this with your friends and colleagues, I'd certainly appreciate it. More importantly, I think they'd appreciate it too. We're going to solve this with adding one word. Okay, here's the word. S-E-L-F. Self. Self what? Self-approval, self-acceptance, and self-appreciation. In the particular example of the newlyweds, if she had a lot of self-appreciation and her husband did not like the meal, it's okay because I have enough self-appreciation. I don't need you to like my meal for me to be appreciated. Make sense? Very powerful. On a scale of 1 to 10, if I asked you how much self-approval, 10 being the highest, do you have? See, if you have a lot of this, you don't have to go keeping up with the Joneses and having all these material things and hustle and hustle and hustle. It's okay to have those things. I mean, I have a lot of those things. But the reason for doing it is not because you want to keep up with the Joneses and have the approval and be on the social media. Here's my Lambo, here's my this, right? Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. How much self-acceptance do you have? How much self-appreciation do you have? Very, very powerful. Here's how this works for guys, or not works for guys, because they want acceptance or approval from women. Because they don't have a lot of self-approval, we'll take ego out of this one because that's a lot of reasons why they have to go out with women or ask them out. It's an ego thing. But many times they have a hard time asking women out or asking for a phone number because we'll think it's because of rejection. That's true. But ultimately what it is the rejection causes me not to have what? Self-approval. It causes me not to feel accepted. It causes me not to feel appreciated. So if my self-approval, acceptance, and appreciation is very low, I am not going to go and ask this woman for her number or ask for a date because the rejection would cause me not to feel any of this in the way I need to feel it. I mean, I could go on and on and on. So let me ask you a question. What behaviors do you have to this day, right now, that are affecting your peace of mind, your happiness, your success, because we don't have this managed well, because we've got to add some more of this to the formula? Just something for you to think about. When you get this mastered, it will dramatically, dramatically change your life. It will give you more control, more self-esteem, more self-worth, more happiness, more peace of mind, and we could go on and on. Do me a favor, share this with one of your friends and colleagues. I think they'd appreciate it. And also, if you're not familiar with my work, I have a live event coming up that this is just the tip of the iceberg of some of the things that we talk about. And then I also work with people where you get to watch me work with them and how to decode and reprogram all this craziness that we go through as we grow older into our adult years. So hope you've enjoyed it. You'll see I'm in a link around here somewhere where you can click it if you'd like to check out some more information about my event. Thanks for taking your time with me today. Again, get this to a 10, and man, your life will take it to a whole nother level when you do that. I'm out of here. Thanks again for your time. It's Gary Cox, business and life strategist. Between now and the next time we get to meet or see each other, remember, don't let anything or anyone or any negative thought or things from your past rent space in your head. God bless, and hopefully you'll click the link, and I'll see you at one of my events.